Hello? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys type in the chat? I'm still kind of new to this whole thing, so alright, cool. Alright, kind of go like that. Right now I don't have multiple monitors, so I can't really multitask. So maybe I'll pull up the stream on my other, like my phone. And then we should be good. Because I can kind of... There we go. Alright. Bear with me on this this first time. It'll be much more smooth afterwards. Alright, dope. So let's go with that. Alright, should be good. That. Let's see. I think. I can close this for now. Alright. So yeah. This week, here's kind of just like my layout that you can kind of see. I'll just get rid of this for now because I don't need it. But it's kind of the setup I'm rocking with. On the left, I can kind of minimize this. It's just my scanner that I use to find plays, basically. It just has like a ton of tickers that I go over. And then I kind of narrow it down into the smaller watch list that I'm going to be kind of focusing on for the week. So that's kind of what we'll go over for today or tonight, and then you guys can ask questions if you'd like, and then I'll go over some charts that you guys want to see, and then we'll kind of take it from there. How's that sound? So let's go to here. Yeah, so let's just start off by looking at futures. So futures here gapped up very slightly, made a high here, but futures are kind of flagging, but kind of looking double toppy, and then unfilled gap below. I really wouldn't be too concerned and take this into too much consideration since they kind of just opened up. But overnight session, kind of watch where what happens, but we're kind of just stuck in a range between all of these, so I wouldn't be too worried about this yet. But we are just hovering right under highs on majority. So like NQ's right below the highs here, and then same with ES, right below the highs. We did make a new high last week, but yeah, it's just something to watch for the following week. But yeah, let's just start off with these tickers. So Apple on the daily here, so just kind of color coding things. Green is just support, red is resistance, and the major ones are bolded and solid. Minor ones are kind of just dashed instead. Not as significant, but they're more trend lines. But uh, these are more significant trend lines. Pretty obvious to see, but just clarify. And then these horizontal lines obviously are just support resistance levels, and everything else is just indicator. But yeah, so here we can see Apple trading between these two lines for quite a while now, since August of last year. Um, we are hovering in the lower end of this whole pattern, and we are approaching this trend line. So this trend line here has touched 1, 2, 3, 4 times already. Any trend line, you really want to see 3 touches minimum to kind of solidify an actual trend line. So some of them you can kind of guess. So you can see here like 1, 2. You can kind of anticipate a third touch up here, but not technically a significant trend line yet. But you can see here, you can zoom in. We're approaching this resistance level. So a break above this, we can really see Apple to start picking up momentum, and this is kind of where you want to look for that next resistance line to kind of see, all right, where do we see Apple going after breaking this resistance? So we can see here we have this 128.8. I don't have every support resistance listed, but these are just the significant ones that I see. Another thing you really want to look for in daily charts especially are gaps. So you can see here prices can gap up and down from the previous trading session overnight, and that's indicated by this empty space that I put in. So you can see here that price action doesn't always have to. It's not a must, but it's something to look out for, that it acts as a magnet in a sense. So stocks like to fill gaps, essentially. So you can see, for example, we had a gap here, filled. Another gap right here, filled. Gap here, filled. It's just something to look out for, and something that's pretty common that you'll see amongst all tickers, really. And we do have this unfilled gap recently here, that if we do gain that momentum and break through this 128.29 level, we could pick up some serious momentum, and this 130 plus level will act as a magnet. And that's when we kind of look for, all right, what's the next resistance? Then we see this next trend line up here that we could run into. So this is definitely a big watch for me for this week. The main trigger that will get me into this play is a break above this trend line. You want to watch that volume as well. But yeah, ultimately a break of this trend line, and if you want an actual specific level, you could really use like the 128.5 level, and that would be a nice place to get in. So I'm personally going to set a trigger for 128.5. You can see everything here. Once this triggers, I'll probably get into that play, and then I'm also going to set a alert for this trend line. So once price action breaks above and crosses this red trend line, I'll also get an alert. So I'll make sure I don't miss that, essentially, and kind of get alerted early on. So that's Apple. Do we have any questions about Apple so far? Looks a far bit off to the right. Can you move the screen so we can see the edge of the window? Oh, okay. Interesting. Not sure why it's doing that. Good catch. Let me try to fix that. Go like. Alright. See if that gets fixed. I think that looks a little better. There we go. Yeah, I'm still really new to this whole thing, so I'll definitely have to get more used to this. And I think it's just a setting that I need to configure for my actual screen dimensions. But there, that should help out a bit. I think that should cover up the full screen. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, This is the chart that I was kind of referring to with Apple. Um, that, yeah, and then we'll kind of zoom out and go like that. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is the Apple chart. Um, Same thing really. This I'm just gonna go over it again just in case it cut off. But this red trend line is really what you want to see break. And above this trend line, I would get calls. So for here, for the 128 half level, I would get 129 probably, 129 calls. If you want to be risky, but honestly, Apple contracts are fairly cheap, so nothing really. Yeah, look at it, 129 or 50 cents. So you can even be a little safer and get the 128s if you'd like, to be 50 cent in the money. Um, but yeah, not too worried about that. But yeah, just look for that and look for volume, obviously, for that confirmation to pick up momentum. But yeah, that's Apple, and we will continue on to CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike is something that we did play already, and you can kind of see the reasoning why I actually did get into this. This here, this major level of 128, this was kind of the key level that I was watching. And from here you can see, I'm not going to zoom in, but on this right hand side, these previous two candles, the most recent, we did pierce through that 228 level, and that is what got me in. You can see as well here, volume also picked up and accelerated, so that's kind of what got me in. And then we did actually sell. I believe we had next week's contracts for 230 calls, but just wanted to take those profits. But realistically, you really could have held those and rolled those over. But definitely something I want to keep on watch still. And what I'm really going to be using is this previous high. So this high is 232. So above this 232 level is something I'd look for, momentum to continue shifting to the upside for CrowdStrike, and we can, if we can see that break, we can see this 238 half level get tested next, and then we get this 240 and 250 level. So yeah, this can definitely pick up quite a bit since we did already break this trend. You can kind of see here also, once we broke through, we retested, and we bounced right off of this perfectly. So that's some very good confirmation to see when looking for a retest of a breakout. But yeah, volume picked up, and just looking for continuation into this week. Next, we have Lulu. So Lulu is actually a stock that I've been tracking since down here, really, in March, and I'll go out like this. I need to zoom out even more, actually. So this is the major outlook I have on Lulu. It's actually a little more complicated because I'm actually looking in price action before this 2018 level, really. And I'm using all these numbers and letters. This is Elliott wave theory. This essentially is kind of what I've been tracking, and I do believe that we are seeing this continued upside. And really, we're going to get that confirmation very soon. But you can see here, and I'll actually make this dotted. But you can see here, we have this 1 and 2 resistance trend lines, these red ones denoted here. And we did actually break through at the end of the day on Lulu that I am swinging some contracts in for next week, or now it's this week. But I'm swinging some contracts for this week, and Lulu looks very, very good. As long as we can hold above this 330, what did it close at? 338.69. So really above 338, 337 level, we can really see some continuation. And our next real target for this would be 347. That's going to be a very big level, but psychologically, you really want to see things happen in 3. Again, just like I said, the 3 touch rule for my support resistance. So here again, this is going to be 1, 2, third touch. So after the third touch, you typically will see, in this case, it's going to be a resistance level break. Because these guys here are basically bears, holding down the price action of Lulu each time we test 347. They've done it once and twice now. So the third time, typically, not always, obviously, it's never certain, but typically on the third time, you're going to see that breakthrough. So you want to see here is confirmation with volume. So you can see every time here, when we tested it, there was no volume. Here, no volume. Um, but down here on these buying the dip moments, you can see there's volume. Um, so what we really want to see here is a breakthrough, continuation to the 347 level, and we actually want to see this pierce straight through with that volume to confirm it. If we can see that, Lulu is going to see a massive, massive move in the next 1 to 2 to really 3 weeks maybe. Um, this move up is what, a 6% move. To the trend line's about 7 to 8% move. So pretty significant already on equity. But in the real hindsight of things, I do see this potentially going up to this 385 to 390 level before seeing any real pullback, significant pullback, if this count is correct. So that's a 17% move to the upside on the underlying stock. So you can imagine with options trading what we do, that's going to be quite a trade. So something to definitely keep on your watch list. This is one of my favorite setups, really going into the month. So yeah, that's Lulu. Then we'll look at Neo. Neo, there's nothing too much to say about here, but I'll kind of zoom in a little. There we go. All right, so Neo. Neo has pulled back quite significantly from the highs of in the 60 region, but we've come down and we bounced in the low 30 region, and from here we can see we've had quite some strength pick up, and now we are retesting this major trend line, this major resistance trend line. So you can see 1, 2, 3, fourth touch now. So this is quite a significant trend line that we do want to watch. What you really want to see here is volume, and you want to see actually consolidation in this level. I don't really expect this to pierce through straight away. There's a couple options we can really see on Monday. We see this kind of just straight up gap up into like the $48, $49 region, and that's just if it gaps up for some reason. Otherwise, I see this probably pulling back very slightly, maybe into the 43, 44 region, and kind of building a base here, maybe flagging, making a bull flag before it pierces through this $46 level, and ultimately comes up to the $50 level. So that's another setup that I'm watching for. But this one's a little less priority because I do think that it needs like maybe a day or two to kind of consolidate. But yeah, otherwise, long term it looks pretty good. This pullback was definitely needed because if you guys have been tracking Neo at all, I mean just last year, like summer, it was less than $10 stock. So seeing it go all the way to $66.99, that's insane. So this was definitely a much needed consolidation and correction phase, and I do believe that with this base being formed down here that was formed, I do believe that this does kind of provide a launch pad for a continuation in Neo, yeah, for the long term. But yeah, now Roku. Roku is something that I've actually been trading a little more because I have been liking Roku recently. So we can see here we have major support, major resistance that actually did break, and then now we have this minor support. And realistically, we do have a minor resistance here. I just didn't mark it with the colored line because it's already written here. But what we're looking for is this 357.4 level. What we're really looking here is for a break of this previous high. And if we can get through this, you can see we tested it once, twice now, and then what do we say before? The third rule, the third touch. So what we're looking for is here, the third touch, to break through, and we want to see volume pick up. If we can see that, we can see quite a quick move to the 360 level. Mid 360s to 370s really is not out of the picture. Very realistic to see. But yeah, otherwise, if we do break down and lose this minor support level, I would not take calls on Roku until we can kind of gain a better picture of where we're going. If we do break down from this trend line, I would imagine we would see something like this, like a bounce, and possibly lower down to this area, which would not be ideal if you're a call holder. So you definitely want to wait for this confirmation, and I am going to actually set this alert here. I forgot to set the alert for Neo, but I'll do that after on my own time. But I do have a crossover for this 357.4 level. Above that, I will take calls. You probably want to say, realistically, if you have a larger account, you want 360 calls. Otherwise, let's look at Roku. So at the money is going to be like $7, $8. So you're gonna have to see when the time is right what the volume and OI is on them, but 370s don't look bad. 370 calls, if you for the majority of people, 370 calls I think would be good to take above 357.4. Safer would obviously be 360, 365 calls. A little further out of the money would be okay. Next, SE. So SE, I really like this chart. Let me fix this green. We need this white. So let's zoom in a bit. We'll go to here. So SE, a little bit of a messy chart. I do have quite a few lines here, but major ones we want to pay attention to is this red one, which was 1, 2, third touch here that we did break through, just like the 3-touch rule again. And then down here, I'm not going to show the rest down below, but this is the supporting trend line that has touched more than 3 times as well. So 2 major trend lines that we want to watch for. Here we can see this pattern, very clear to see a W pattern, also known as double bottom. So we have this double bottom here, bottom 1, bottom 2, and then now we're retesting this upper line, this area that I grayed out basically. Really the last line of defense that we're looking for to break is this dotted red line from this 1 to 3rd high. So this 3rd touch here, we are looking for a breakthrough early in the week, specifically the 278 level. We really want to see a close above 278, and this could easily be a very good swing trade, in my opinion. I think above this 278 level, if we get a daily close, you can really swing this up to possibly a new all-time high, in my opinion. Very possible. When SE runs, it runs like crazy. Yeah, really above this 278 level, we get 280, 285, and then you can see up here, really the sky's the limit. 300 plus is possible. As for contracts, SE is not the most liquid, unfortunately, and it's a little expensive. So, yeah, you might have to kind of wait it out. If you want to especially swing it, you're going to want monthlies, at least, really. Yeah, because next week's wouldn't be great on liquidity wise. That's kind of the issue with SE. So you want to look for monthlies. So the next monthly would be July. And you can see here, not the greatest liquidity at all for volume. So might have to be careful here. So you're going to kind of have to feel that out yourself, but kind of just see what's appropriate for your account and what has the most volume when something breaks out. Because when this does break out, volume is going to come and option will flow into this ticker, just because everyone's going to be looking at it. So have your attention to this. I will actually set my alert now for 278, like that. So above 278, I will get alerted to kind of keep my eye on this one. But yeah, next up is Snapchat. So Snapchat, this goes hand in hand with Twitter, but because they're very similar stocks, I'm only going to go over Snapchat. I'm holding Twitter leaps as we speak, and I've been holding them for the whole time. Literally, I'll do it quickly. I've held through this entire fire breakdown. I'm still in it, and I do still think that Twitter is going to make a new high. That's why I have leaps, so I'm not too worried about it. But Snapchat, because this looks better for this week, that we want to pay attention to. So Snapchat here, you can see this green line is our support line. And these red lines here are our resistance, and we've actually, you can see here, we've cleared both lines. which is incredible. You can see here, this was the trend line from the high, and then here is another secondary trend line that we did actually form a consolidation period here. We bounced on these two trend lines, and we are piercing higher into this weekly supply zone. You can see here is marked from all of these wicks, and again we get another wick. So what we really want to see for Snapchat is a solid break into and close into this weekly supply, because you can see here we've never really had a solid close for more than a day or two, like apart from this this breakout here. This was just a fake out, but apart from that, you can see this third time now. Everything is in threes. That's what you really want to pay attention to. So this is the third time we're testing this weekly supply zone. So if we can get a couple of daily closes in this this weekly supply zone, we can really see momentum pick up on this, and Snapchat is going to break out even more. We can see the high 60s to $70 level, and a new high or a test of this high is very possible if we can recapture this weekly supply zone. In terms of contracts, we are already swinging. I believe they're August, if I'm not wrong. We can check in the Discord after, but I'm in August. I believe there's 70 calls. So you can kind of see why I took that now and the play. And we actually took those calls way down here on this breakout, which is the whole reasoning why I took them. But now you can see here the play is developing, and we are pushing up. But if you did not get in that play already, there is more upside in my opinion, but you just have to wait for that confirmation and make sure you're not FOMOing into something that's already running up. And you have to make sure you're okay with getting in late and getting that confirmation to get that next push higher. So that's Snapchat. Tesla, I don't really want to speak too much on. There's not much to say about it other than where we have these two trend lines here that all go like this. We have this red trend line and we have this green trend line, and we're not really near either, which is why it's not a huge priority. But the only thing I'm really going to watch on Tesla is this trend line here. We have 1, 2, 3 touches, and now we're looking for the fourth. So what I'm going to do here is get across above this trend line, and above this we get this would be more of a day trade in my opinion. So above this roughly like 617 half-ish level, you get 623, 630, 635, and then above that is a big breakout. So if you want to look for like a swing, this is really the pivot point you want to see. So it's that 336 level, like right here. This is the real pivot point you want to see. This move here would be for a day trade. This here would be for a swing trade up to the to the 666 level, and ultimately up to the 680 level. But that's getting a little optimistic. We have no idea what's going to happen here. You just play the chart and you prepare for the move that you see might happen. If this does break down, I'm not going to play the downside. I just don't like the downside. For the downside, I want to see this green. I basically want to see a retest of these lows, essentially. So I'm not really going to short Tesla until we're in this 550 to 570 region. Then I'll look to short Tesla possibly, because that would basically mean, because I personally just still don't know which way Tesla's going to go. It could go 200 points up, it could go 200 points down. I don't know. So I'm not really having a bias in that sense, but I'm just waiting for what happens. But yeah, it's just a small day trade potential there. And lastly, Zoom. This is probably my favorite setup. And I mean, I've been basically raving Zoom all week. I think I alerted the 365 calls for next week's expiration on Monday, I believe, last Monday. So we've been holding it for almost a whole week now. But the reasoning why I got in is this major trend line. We had this 1, 2, third touch, and this third touch you can see here we actually hugged it for quite a while. And what did we do here? We formed a bull flag actually. So we formed bull flag. We break out this piercing candle here on June 4th. We got in. And ever since then we came up. Actually, we retested this And ever since then, we've just been going crazy, and Zoom went crazy on Friday. I think it was like a 6% day or something. Um, very, very crazy. So, and Zoom has not seen something like this in quite a while. Zoom's been a pretty dead stock, as most people would agree. So from here, now we can see this is a major, major trend line, or not a trend line, but major, major breaking point really. So this here can be the shifting point. I've had this drawn in for a while now. This is just that previous low that kind of pivoted here and acted as that pivot point in both directions. So this 366, the 368 level really, you can call it a region, but this level here is the pivot point. If we can break out from this region, you could really use this high. So what is this high? 367.96, yeah, 368. So above 368, we see minimum 380s. It's going to have another 20 to 30 point day. So that's something to look for. If we do see weakness here and we can't break out of this 366 to 68 region, we're going to get a pullback. That doesn't mean that we're necessarily bearish, because this weekly breakout really from this falling wedge is still valid. We just might see something more like this, and then it might just come back like that. Obviously, you don't want to hold calls into this move, because that's quite a pullback. But otherwise, we're going to see something more like this. Continuation up early into the week, small pullback here, up, and then, oh, I kind of messed that last one up, but this would go up into this region up here. And ultimately, my final target for this on the long-term move is 450. This 450 region up here is my long-term goal here. I do believe that, and long-term as in like month or two, I would say, conservatively. It could happen quicker, but conservatively, like a month or two. I see 450 level. So we are holding next week's contracts. So obviously not a lot of time. So those contracts are already trimmed and completely free, and they're over 100%, I believe. So we're going to, these are basically risk-free, but we want to make sure we're managing those correctly. And if we do see that we see weakness at this 366 and 68 level, we get out of those. We stop out of those really quick. And then we actually get back in down here in this 350 range, I would say. But that's a different story. That's something that I'll alert in the Discord if that happens. But that's kind of my outlook for Zoom. So I do believe amidst the big move we've already had, that there is actually room for quite a bit more momentum to the upside. Because if we go to the weekly chart, let me see here. It's a little cleaner to see, but yeah, very, very clean falling wedge. And if we do see continuation above this region, the next stop is this next area here in the 380s. And if we do get that, for our contracts, the next week contract calls, I will sell right here. I'm not going to hold those for this next potential region, because I just don't think that's realistic. Here, I'm going to take profits on those and look for a pullback. So we get two scenarios. We either get this, something like that, or we get this breakdown, and then we get something like that. So one of these two is what I'm looking for. We just have to make sure we identify which one it is early in the week and play and position ourselves accordingly. But yeah, that's kind of everything I've had for my watch list at least. And I'll actually put in a 368 level here for myself as well. But now I can kind of go over some tickers. And there's how many of you? Like 8 of you in here. So you guys can just comment now if you'd like on what you want to see, and I can quickly go over stuff. But yeah, go ahead and request those now. And yeah, just include your include the ticker name, and if you want, you can include like the time frame you want me to look at, like a daily time frame or something, and I can kind of look through that. AMD. All right, cool. Let's look at AMD. All right, AMD. So let's do this with the colors. So this here is going to be red, since this is our resistance. So AMD here, interesting to see. We're actually going to go like that, and then technically, if you really want, you can put a green trend line like here, like that. But it's kind of already denoted from this. But we see here we've just been consolidating in this quite large region from the low 70s to 99 for quite a while now, since August of last year. You can see here we do have this this red trend line that we have tested 1, 2, and maybe 3 times coming up. So this is something that is actually a pretty good watch. So now after this, we will kind of want to see, all right, let's kind of try to identify other patterns here. So one thing I see right away is a bull flag pattern here. So if we can break out of, let me get this out. I would go like around here. You can like go into this specifically and see, I think the high is actually 82.91. You can kind of look at that yourself. But basically this area here, this high, you want to see, so you can take a starter position. So what I would do here is starter position on the break of this trend line, this bull flag trend line. So you're playing the bull flag breakout, and then you can add into your position if we break out of this high. So you add 1, 2 times here, and then play for this next up here. That's how I'd personally play this. Otherwise, if you go all in your position here and something just doesn't work out, you're going to suffer the consequences a lot more. So I would definitely dollar cost your average into this play, and I would definitely buy time as well, because AMD, if there's one thing that we can tell from this chart, is that it likes to chop around like a lot. So never hurts to get more time on this. So if I were to play this, I would get at least monthly contracts. So I would get like July, maybe August for this, and I wouldn't go too far to the money either. I'd get maybe like 85 calls, and I'd dollar cost your average in. Maybe even like 83 or 84 calls. Those are all safe. Just look for whatever has volume. So we have that. Another thing that I can actually quickly see is a inverse head and shoulders. So we have this left shoulder, right shoulder, and then head. So you can kind of see here. And this is kind of the neckline as well that we're holding. I would kind of omit this just because this was a big fake out, and including earnings. So I wouldn't really include this. You can kind of omit that. But we have left shoulder, right shoulder, head, inverse head and shoulder pattern, and that is a bullish pattern as well. So above this 83 region, that would also not only confirm the bull flag, but it would also confirm a larger inverse head and shoulders. So target wise, you can take the target for the bull flag, which would give you from here around $90. And you can also look for the price target from here, and the inverse head and shoulders pattern would give you around 93. So look for this $90 to $93 region if both patterns confirm. And yeah, obviously that'd be a bigger breakout since we are breaking out of this this very strong resistance trend line. I hope that kind of clears up AMD. Downside, I would not play downside like this, because you can see here, if it fails, it kind of just chops around. So I would not play downside on this. I would only play upside. So next we can do Tilray. So Tilray, wheat stocks actually are pretty hot. So we can see here, let me actually color code these. So this here will be the green. very strong support trend line, and you can see why we bounced here. It's because of this ongoing channel up. And then this here we did break out. We actually did play Tilray, the lottos. This is actually why we broke out of this this trend line here. 1, 2, 3. After that, nothing, no real trend lines you can draw in, just because of how crazy this short squeeze was on Tilray, up to 67, which we actually did almost play. We sold out too early of that. If anyone remembers that, it was the Weeble challenge. But here, I would actually want to zoom in a little bit. So let's go like this. So for Tilray, I would actually play levels. So here, this is a little risky buying in at this region, but if it is going to bounce, it's going to be in this area of 19 to 1970, I would say, in this rough region. So I'll kind of go like, oh, whoops, kind of like this. So this could be your potential buy zone. And if you do, I would take a very, very, very light position to just really feel out the position, because if this does fail, this would obviously just come all the way down and retest these like $16 to $15 levels, which would really hurt calls. So take a very small position if you want to start here. Otherwise, I like this more on the upside if we can take out these higher levels. So we can see here we have two significant wicks. So above $22, you can take an entry, but ultimately, really, you want to see above 23. Above $23, you get quite a good move, because above 23, you can see 24, 24 half, and then 28. So this is kind of the play I would look for. But down here, you're kind of bottom fishing. So obviously, you would get a good entry, but it might just fail here. So risky. Another thing to note is that we have, in this whole uptrend, held the 8 EMA, and we did test that right here, and we did hold it. So if we can hold this 8 EMA, you might want to consider taking a small entry here. And your stop loss, obviously you can adjust it, but you might want to say, all right, maybe a break below the 8 EMA or something on the daily 8. So yeah, that's kind of what I would play on Tilray, but I'd be very careful with this one, just because Tilray seems like it picks up momentum very suddenly and just dies out for a while. So yeah, it's kind of based off of hype as well. Let's look at Amazon. So Amazon, if anyone saw in my watch list that I posted, I think it was Thursday or something in my channel, I drew this out. This pennant, unfortunately, I didn't catch this entire move just because I was really busy last week. But there was two trades that I looked for Amazon last week. The first one was this major pennant breakout, which we did actually break out of, and this was a very, very nice trade. I hope someone caught this. This was a 3% move on the stock, which is really pretty decent on Amazon, considering how sluggish it's been for the past like year, basically, like since last summer. So it's been really, really terrible price action. But this here, this 33.66.8 level, you can see why we rejected here. Because this is a very significant turning point level, and really above this resistance, we see 3400s very easily. So I actually didn't include this in my watch list, but I'm going to add a cross above this this region, and above that I would actually take calls. I would take maybe 3400 calls, maybe 3450s, if you have a small count. But that's a very solid trade. Otherwise, this actually could see quite a decent pullback. This daily candle here does not look good for the bulls. This actually looks like a reversal candle. So I would be very cautious. And if you do want to go long on this, I would wait for this confirmation of this high. Otherwise, I would not go long. I would also not go short on this, just because if you go short, you would want to short the top here at 33.66 and not kind of chase this, because from here it could just it could really realistically do something like this. Just like flag and then break out, So you don't want to short this either, just because you're kind of guessing at that point. You don't know what's going to happen. There's no confirmation to short. Um, to short really, um, there's really no opportunity in my opinion unless you cut the top here, where you can say, all right, I can short from 33.66 and my stop loss is basically 33.66, and you had a good entry. Otherwise, do not short this. Um, so that's kind of the play I would look for this. Long above this high. Um, but another thing that could happen is if we come actually all the way down. So let me get rid of these. Another thing that's possible is we do get a big short. And oh well, if this happens, great. You shorted it. I personally just wouldn't take that. We could see a retest of this region here. And from there, that is something I would also buy. So this would be something I would buy calls on. And this is obviously exaggerated, but it would be something like that. And that'd be a very nice buying spot. So you want to buy places where you have confirmation and you have where the cards are in your favor and you're waiting for the chart to come to your terms, essentially. You're not trying to make a play off of the chart. You're making a play before the chart even plays out. So you kind of know what's going to happen. And if this happens, then great. Then we take the trade. If not, then we wait. Another thing that I actually want to point out on Amazon here was Amazon actually forms very nice patterns intraday. So this is kind of something we can go over really quickly. So here on Friday, we had a very, very clean falling wedge. And I believe a few analysts actually alerted this in our group. So we bought calls right off of this. We bought 0 dates to expiration, 33.50s, I believe. And these printed quite a bit. This was a 100% trade. And also here, this is also the previous day, a very, very clean chart. This here is an ascending triangle. Doesn't really get cleaner than that. But obviously you want to wait for confirmation, and it exploded at the end of the day. This here was also an extended triangle, but you can see here what happened. It broke down. So that's why you really want to wait for that confirmation upwards, because this is a great example of a bullish formation that just broke down, because you're never going to have a 100% win rate on this. But yeah, I'll get rid of these. So I hope that made sense. Are there any other tickers you guys want me to go over? I'll go over like one or two more, and then I'll probably wrap up the stream from there. So you guys can send in a ticker if you want me to go over that. Otherwise, we can kind of wrap it up from there. Alright, looks like we are good. Alright, so we'll wrap up the stream there. Sorry for the little clunks in the beginning, but I'm obviously still really new to this. But hopefully it'll be a little smoother as we keep doing this. If you guys like this, definitely give this a thumbs up so I know, and then just give me that feedback so I can kind of keep improving this service. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the week, and let's get a green week.